Hi guys, Treant here and welcome to the Scrapyard. I'm going to do a quick review of the cards revealed in the GWENT Master Mirror event. But before I do that, don't forget, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. I also stream to Twitch. You'll find links for my Discord down below. Please do all of those things. With that being said, let's have a look at the cards that were revealed. First up, we have Angry Mob, a 3 strength unit with 4 provision cost. It has a deploy ability that says damage an enemy unit by 2. It has a new keyword called Conspiracy. And what Conspiracy does is triggers and makes the card's ability stronger when targeting is a spying unit. Now that's the English used in the GWENT Discord. I think they meant to say when the target is a spying unit, or when targeting a spying unit. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think you get the point. When you deploy and damage an enemy unit, if that enemy unit is a spying unit, it boosts itself by 2. So you get a nice buff of 2 to the card, while you also minus 2 from the opponent. I like this card. I think it's pretty bog standard. I don't think there's anything special about it. That's why I'm going to give it the rating of 3 pieces of scrap. Next up is Oak Critters. Oak Critters is probably my favorite card released so far. It's a 2 strength 4 provision unit. And what it does is when you deploy it in the melee row, it gives an enemy unit bleeding for 3 turns. And then if you deploy it in the range row, it spawns a base copy of itself. So you get a 4 strength unit. It's got a new keyword, which is Devotion. And what Devotion says is enhances a card's ability, assuming your deck consists solely of faction specific cards. So if you are running this card in a Scoia'tael pure deck, you basically trigger both abilities, which I think make this a phenomenal card. So when you play it, you get an additional body and you give an enemy -3 over time with the bleeding effect. Phenomenal card. I'm giving this 5 pieces of scrap. Next up is Marlene the Trastamara. She's a 6 strength unit with 6 provision, so not cheap, but not too expensive either. It's got a new, or she, excuse me, has got a new keyword called Veil, and what Veil says, shields unit from detrimental statuses, e.g. bleeding, or prevents them from gaining beneficial ones, e.g. vitality. Your opponent can't poison or bleed this unit. You also can't give this unit buff over time. And then her next part of the card says, order, give a unit Veil. So she protects herself, and then she also protects other cards in your deck. This card, not a wholly impressive card. Cool, I think nothing too special here. I'm going to give this unit 3 pieces of scrap. Next up is what the whole expansion is named after. Master Mirror himself, 6 strength unit, 10 cost, so not cheap. He has the Veil ability, which we just discussed, so he is untargetable for poison and bleeds, etc., giving statuses essentially. And then this is a long piece of wordy text, so let's go through it together. Deploy. Transform the leftmost card in your hand into a random legendary card from your faction that was not in your starting deck. As it stands, that's a cool ability. It then says repeat this ability whenever you play a rightmost card from your hand. So, hand placement or cards in your hand now have importance. Hearthstone recently did something like this, and I really like this introduction into GWENT. I'm not sure how strong this card is. I think I'm only going to give this card 3 pieces of scrap. I don't think this ability is going to be meta defining or a really powerful effect, but I think this card is going to be super fun to play. We're going to see some wonderful and weird plays with it. Next up is we have Oni Romance. I think that's how that's pronounced. It is a 12 provision spell, legendary card, and it has a new keyword called Echo. And what Echo does is returns the card from the graveyard to the top of your deck at round start. The card also becomes doomed, removing it from the battle permanently. So Oni Romance, if you get it in round 1, you can play it, pull any card you like from your deck. So you might have some sick combo that you want to pull off. Super versatile, super useful in a lot of decks. Then Oni Romance at the beginning of round 2 gets pulled out of your graveyard and moved to the top of your deck, so you draw it again. So you can essentially pull the exact card that you want 2 turns in a row. Oni Romance then gets doomed, so it goes out of your graveyard. It can no longer be played a 3rd time. I think this card is crazy. I think this card is going to get 5 pieces of scrap. I think it's just bonkers. I think we're going to see incredible combos that I can't imagine right now. I'm sure there are deck builders out there going bananas for this card. Yeah, phenomenal. I think we're going to see this in so many decks. I also predict that this card is going to get nerfed somehow. I don't know. I have a feeling. Next up we have Squirrel Neutral, 4 strength, 4 provision unit. It has a deploy ability that says banish a card from the opponent's graveyard. Well, what a card to have to counter Oni Romance. You want to get rid of certain scenarios from your opponent's deck. You want to get rid of cards, like I said, like Oni Romance from your opponent's deck. This is a cheap, effective way of doing that. I think this is going to shut down a lot of those broken cards pretty quickly. While I don't think this card is going to appear in all decks, I'm going to give this card a 4 scrap rating because it's just... I think it's just a perfect little tech card, to be honest with you. There's nothing bad about this card. You put this card in your deck, and I think it gets value no matter what. I think there are so many decks now that can pull stuff out of their graveyard. So I think this is a super tech card. Probably the most difficult to pronounce card of the cards revealed so far. We have Turgvi, Tear Shock, a 5 strength, 11 provision Skellige card with the keyword veteran, and veteran is a new keyword, and what it says is increase the base power of the unit by 1 at the start of the second and third rounds. When this card is in your hand, if I understand this correctly, it's 5 strength in the first round. If it stays in your hand to the second round, it's now a 6 strength card, and then if it stays in your hand for the third round, it's a 7 strength card. I like this evolving sort of theme to this whole expansion. I think there's going to be several cards that have this evolving theme. And then when you deploy him, he gives an enemy unit rupture, which is again a new keyword. And what rupture is at the end of the afflicted unit's turn, damages the unit by value equal to its power. The status is afterwards removed. Okay, so you basically put this rupture keyword on an enemy's minion, an enemy's unit, excuse me. So let's say that's a 4 strength unit. At the end of your opponent's next turn, that unit is going to take 4 damage. So your opponent has time to react. They can purify, or they can maybe give it a buff somehow, and then it takes 4 damage and maybe it survives. Super cool ability. I really like Rupture. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out because it's quite expensive. I don't think this is going to appear in every Skellige deck, but I still think it's a really powerful card, so I'm going to give this 4 pieces of scrap. Wandering Treant is a 1 strength Squirrel unit, basic, pretty vanilla. It's got Doom, so it doesn't go into your graveyard when it dies. Right now, I can realistically, it's not a terrible card. I can only give this 1 piece of scrap because right now I don't see any benefit to it. I'm fully certain I'm going to be wrong about this as we see the more cards revealed. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Treants being seen. For right now, this gets 1 piece of scrap. Sorry. So we have Fortune Teller just revealed. I'm literally just seeing this now in the last 30 seconds. So it's 4 strength, 4 provision, deploy, melee, give doomed to a unit, which is super powerful to be able to say a card no longer goes into the graveyard, therefore cannot be reused. Never seen this before. And then deploy, melee, give a veil to a unit. Okay, so how does this work? To be honest with you, I'm a little uncertain here. I'm looking on the GWENT Discord right now, and there is a comment from Alicia. She says Veil is on ranged, and that would make more sense. So yeah, this is really confusing because this is, official GWENT artwork. I didn't make this. So if I understand it correct, deploy melee is give doomed to a unit, which again, super powerful, I think. Deploy on the range row, give a veil to a unit. A little bit of versatility here. Again, a cool little tech card at 4 provisions. If you've got 4 provisions left, I think this card could see play. I don't think it's going to see a huge amount of play, to be honest with you. Depends on how the meta shapes out. So I think I'm going to give this card 3 pieces of scrap for that very reason. I don't think this is a broken card. I don't think it's going to see a huge amount of play. Lastly, we have Young Dryad. This is a 2 strength Squirrel unit. It is doomed, so it doesn't go to your graveyard, but it's got a new keyword called Symbiosis. And what Symbiosis says is whenever you play a nature card, spawn a Treant. So we get our Treant back, which power is equal to the number of cards with Symbiosis you control in a random ally. When you have Young Dryad on the board and you play a nature card, if there's only 1 unit with Symbiosis on the board, you play your nature card, you do your effect, and then you get a 1 strength Treant on the board, which gets doomed. If there are 2 Young Dryads on the board and you play your nature card, you now spawn a 2 strength Treant. Potentially there could be a further Treant based deck, but right now at the moment, from what I can tell, Young Dryad gets 2 pieces of scrap. It's nothing that impressive, but again, I think going forward I might have to re-review all of these scores. that's the video, guys. Hoping to do more of these as we see more cards revealed. Please, if you like these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, as always. I'm sure some of you will definitely disagree with me in the comments. That's okay. I'll try and get to all your comments. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Bye.